Welcome. In today's video, we will be reviewing not this. I'm using this as a size comparison. This is a standard Swiss Army knife, 91mm size. Okay, get your, if you got one in your nearby, picture how big that is, because we are going to be reviewing this guy, which is almost as long as the knife is, as the Victorinox is when open. This is the RIDER Granddaddy Barlow. We'll set this off to the side over here. This is a $20-something knife from SMKW, Smoky Mountain Knife Works. And I personally really like this knife. Now, about the biggest things I have is a chip in the blade and then the blade centering being way off. But it's RIDER, what do you expect? This is their buckshot bone Granddaddy Barlow. This is a large knife, and before I open up the blade, just want to talk about the scales here. I believe this is bone. It could be resin, I'm not quite sure. But they call it buckshot because it has these little buckshot-sized golf ball dimples on here. Very nice. Gives you some good grip, actually. Like, it grips better for some reason than most. Got a little bit of the pale bone up here. It has brass rivets, 1, 2, 3. Very solid knife, brass liners with like a little bit of this red micarta going down, which is kind of their little signature thing from the looks of things going on here. Like we have some of that red micarta showing up inside there. This is the mini Skinner from RIDER. Fantastic little knife. But we have these brass nickel bolsters here, and it is scratched up because I put it through some tests before this video, which I usually do an unboxing and then maybe a catch-up video down the road of a knife after it's been tested. But this one, I got into it and I tested it. And I kind of got it scratched. But it gives the knife more character. And it's 20 bucks, so I don't really care about scratching it up too much. Let's open up the blade. This sucker is massive. This is like a full 4-inch blade here. This thing is long, and it has the tacky RIDER logo on the blade. Like, that is too much real estate, and you already have it down here stamped in the steel. I don't know if you can see that too well, but it's already stamped there. Why do you need it here? It's just, and you don't do it on the other side. It'd be one thing if it was like here, and all over the place. Like, okay, fine, but they have it here, and here, and then nothing on this side. Go figure. That's RIDER for you. But we got this high swedge here, like it comes most of the way back down the blade. This is 440 razor sharp steel, as they say. This is made in China. This is not a USA made knife. This is RIDER that we're talking about here. It's fine. It is a really nice knife. We have the grooves inside the finger notch here, which, if you don't know, was done on an old World War II knife. Now, this is a replica, not the actual thing made by Camillus. This is a Marbles World War II knife, but they have the same little grooves in here, and this was done back in the day for strike anywhere matches. It was a little surface that you could take your match and strike it and light it, and done in such a way on this one, you don't even have to open up the knife, just, and you got your match. But this is a large Bowie knife. And this is an old Barlow style. Here's a kind of a modernized Barlow. This is the Asher Knives Picket. Very good knife. I carry this pretty much every day now for months now. And I love this knife. But as you can see, there's some similarities in design cues between these knives, kind of as a Barlow. This is more of a drop point. This is a clip point, but you have that swedge. You have the very symmetrical handle that widens at the pommel. It's very interesting, but you also get a modern pocket clip on it, which would be kind of nice with this, but I'm not complaining. Excuse me. But this is kind of my modern Barlow. And you can see the similarities, you can see the differences. And if this old Barlow is not your thing, consider getting an Asher Knives Picket. But we're not talking about the Picket in this video, we're talking about this one here. This is very much well-deserving of the name Granddaddy Barlow. What I do wish that they would have done is put the shield and the R on the bolster here right 90 degrees to the right, like rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, because that would look a lot better, I think, on the knife. Because when you're holding it, most people are right-handed, and when you're holding it and you're using it like this, the R's are upside down and it looks weird. And if you're left-handed, the R's are hidden from you, so what's the point of having them? Just a little artist nitpicky thing here. But we have a long 440 stainless blade here. It's kind of got this frosted coating on it on one side, shiny on the other. Very interesting little style choice. And right about here on the edge, there was this chip in it, which kept it from making a clean cut through a piece of paper. And it would cut fine on leather and stuff, but on paper it would snag. But I've got most of that worn out, but it still kind of catches right there because I'm not a master sharpener and I don't want my knives just like razor sharp all the time. I just want them workably sharp and then some. And this knife is that and then some. And I love just how this thing is built, how it's set up. This is a large 6-finger knife. If you've got 6 fingers, this is a 6-finger pocket knife. This thing is massive. You could almost take this sucker boar hunting. Now, I would not recommend that if you're going to go boar hunting. Take something bigger on with you, like that. But this is a more than serviceable knife and could be illegal in a few places because of the 4-inch blade. Most places kind of restrict you to having a 3-inch blade. Look up your local knife laws. I am not a lawyer. Yada, yada, yada. Knife laws are getting better in the U.S., though. And that is kind of a nice thing. kniferights.org, please go check them out. They've been making progress in getting leniencies from these knife laws, allowing people to carry more reasonable things rather than, like in Chicago, you can only carry a tiny little knife, like smaller than this, and non-locking slip joint. It's like pathetic. Like, no, you can't cut a cheeseburger in half with this. You could cut a cheeseburger in half with this. And that's what most people do. Open boxes and cut food. Like, we're not combative people here in the EDC community. We just want to carry our knives and use our knives on fun little stuff. This thing, it grips well. If you're going to stab into something, you should be careful about running your fingers up on the blade. But this is a good camping knife, I think. I think you could really put it through its paces at a campsite. It would not be my one and done. I would usually pack a fixed blade. Even a small one like this would be a good addition. Have a fixed blade. But there's not that much to say. It's a traditional slip joint. It has a nice half stop here. Good solid thwack when it closes. It has good walk and talk, as the people would call that. Good pull, like it's not, a weak spring at all. This is a very strong spring. It's still a new knife, so I'm a little bit hesitant of where my fingers are when I open and close this. The more I use it, the more I'll get comfortable. Hopefully not so comfortable that I lose a thumb. But the sucker opens nicely, closes nicely, and stays sharp a little bit. I've put it through some paces there. It's still pretty doggone sharp. And it is a fingerprint magnet on this side. That's fine. But I love the golf ball divots. The buckshot divots that they have here. I doubt they point this in front of a shotgun and go bang and make the divots. I think there's a machine that stamps those out. But it's fun to think that you just hold up and go bang. But the way those are, it kind of like creates these little vacuums in your hand and really gives you a good solid purchase on that. Like, that's not going anywhere. There's like next to no blade wiggle. I can feel like the tiniest bit of looseness between the brass and the nickel brass right here when I really push down on something, like pushing this way on the blade. But normal use, you're not going to feel that. You're not even going to really feel that if you're pushing down like that, you know, unless you're like just going crazy trying to split a log with this sucker. If you're using it like a normal knife or normal batoning through small stuff, whittling fuzz sticks, slicing a steak, cutting rope, doing normal stuff like that, you're not going to feel any weakness in this handle at all. And if you're feeling the handle give, you're probably already doing something that you shouldn't be doing with a pocket knife. So consider that. It's not always the knife's fault. It's sometimes user error. So, with that in mind, when you buy a knife, consider, are you stronger than the knife, or is the knife stronger than you? If the knife's stronger than you, like a Becker, consider really putting it through some tough stuff that you wouldn't normally do. But if it's a folding pocket knife, you're probably stronger than the pocket knife. So treat your pocket knives well. And they'll treat you well. They'll stay around a long time and hopefully keep you around a long time. So with that said, I hope you found this video useful and informational. I hope it helps you build your EDC to your standards. And until the next time, farewell, carry well, and bye-bye.